You do not want to be another one of his trinkets in his collection of Barbie dolls that all look like you. That way, I know it's not just superficial because the F-boy is keeping it superficial. Welcome back, guys. It's your host, Hallismmith, for another episode of Girl Core. As cool as I am, I have made mistakes, okay? In front of guys, in front of girls. I've broken girl code accidentally, but I've done it. On the way to being a cool ass bitch, you make mistakes, okay? You're gonna fuck up, and it's bound to happen, and that's completely okay because you're not always gonna be super suave and cool. You're gonna overdo things, underdo things, be awkward, be weird, and that's completely okay. And honestly, it doesn't stop, whether it's sexually or with your friends or with your relationships. I'm a word vomiter. When I get nervous, when it's a little too silent, I just start saying shit like intrusive thoughts because I'm like, why did I say that? That's so fucking embarrassing in front of boyfriend's parents. But specifically today, one of my dumb moments that I'm gonna impart onto you guys and embarrass myself and tell all over the internet. Young Hallie was super down to party. When you're young and you're trying to find a party, you're just starting to get into the party world of drinking and all that fun stuff. At the time, everything is so exciting. I do miss the feeling of always having something on the weekends or plans with your friends, because when you're new to drinking, it is the best. Everything is wonderful. I was just so hyped up just to see the same 3 friends that I had and do the same shit we do every weekend. But this time we're gonna add alcohol, and it just made it so much fun. One of my friends, she went to a different high school. She invited me to a kickback with some of her friends. A kickback is just like a small party, but usually at somebody's house. It's more low key. You usually just have a few friends over. You guys have some music. Maybe they have a ping pong table or a hot tub. And you guys are kind of just like, hanging out, drinking, smoking, whatever you guys are up to. I enjoy kickbacks more than a big party because it's more intimate and you actually get to know and have fun with the people. Because when it's like a bigger party, you're mainly just like focused on you have like your main friend, but it's so overstimulating and loud. There's a lot going on. And yes, it's fun because there's like so many people. So there's like a buzz, it's a different type of energy. But definitely being with a smaller group, I always prefer maybe max 10 people. That's like a perfect size little kickback. Anyways, I get invited to my first ever kickback. I'm bringing everything I got. I've been stealing liquor from my parents' cabinets forever. I was like terrible because my parents would have friends over and they would have little barbecue. So that when they were drinking, my parents would have all the alcohol out. When they would be outside barbecuing or distracted, I would run into the kitchen with a water bottle. And I would pour alcohol into my little plastic water bottle or like my reusable hydro. And I would throw all that alcohol in there. And then I would just run out because usually they would be drinking. So they wouldn't be paying attention to how much liquor was getting drank. And it wasn't just them drinking. At the end of the night, they would be cleaning up, or the next day, my parents would be like, damn, everybody really drank a lot, but I don't feel hungover. It must have been our friends. I wonder how they're doing today because all the alcohol is pretty much gone. And I was like, yeah, you guys were honestly getting pretty lit. You guys were getting a little drunk. I would gaslight my parents and be like, yeah, you guys were pushing it a little bit, It wasn't even that. Nobody was even getting that crunk. It was always me just taking the alcohol, and they never realized it. And I've honestly never told them about it. I would gaslight my parents, take the alcohol. So I had been prepping though. I had plans. And even though I wasn't partying yet, I knew I was going to party. And I had been stockpiling the alcohol for a bit. A little stash of water bottles filled with miscellaneous alcohol and things like that. And as well, I even managed to score some homemade pop brownies, a little THC brownie. For your information, never take homemade anything because that is going to get you blasted. Anything I've ever taken that was homemade and like a candy, a brownie, popcorn, literally the most zooted I've ever been. I've flown to the green goddess of greening out. I'm puking, yakking every time I take homemade things. That's why I prefer store-bought candies and candy edibles because the homemade gets you messed up. Here's the thing. I was in high school, so that was all I had. That was all I could get my hands on. So I had these little homemade brownies, and my friend invites me to this kickback with some of her other friends. It's a bunch of people from another high school. So I know pretty much no one besides my main friend. I knew her friends and we heard of each other and we kind of knew of each other. But besides that, I didn't know the guys that were coming. I'd never been to her house before. This was my first time ever going to that girl's house. So my friend invites me, and I was super excited because these were kind of like cooler girls. They played sports. They had a lot of guy relationships. They had guy friends back then. And I was like, wow, that makes you a little bit cool. Now I'm like, yeah, no, that's not cool. But anywho, we pull up, right? I'm jazzed the fuck up because I'm like, we're going to get fucked up. When you're younger, you just go over the top, might I say. You're super eager that you set yourself up for failure. So I have my little sleepover bag. I had so many bottles hidden in my sleepover backpack. And to make sure there wasn't any sound coming from all the drinks I had hidden in my bag, I rolled a t-shirt around all the the glasses and all the, bottles. That way you couldn't hear it because I didn't want it like clinking as I went down the stairs. I went off to the sleepover. We pull up to the girl's house. I meet her mom. Like the girl's mom was there. It was just a casual Saturday night. She was like, you guys go hang out. So we all went to her garage. And when I enter the garage, there's a pool table, some guys, and a few girls, maybe like 7 to 8 of us all together. Immediately, we start playing beer pong. Beer pong gets you messed up quickly. We were extra stupid because not only did we already put, beer in each of the cups, so when you get the ball into the cup, like the opposing team gets their ball into your cup, you have to drink the entire glass, right? We were taking shots because we were dumb and eager, and I brought all the alcohol besides a little bit they had. So we were taking shots of alcohol, mixing everything. We were drinking beer, we were drinking vodka, tequila, because this was when I was young. The alcohol we had collected was random bits of little things. There was nothing like we had like one big bottle. We didn't have any of that. It was like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So we're mixing everything. Immediately bad. Mixing all these drinks, and then we're like, let's take the brownies. So we eat a bunch of brownies. Just take take a chunk, a bite. Like I'm eating this brownie like it's a normal brownie, okay, guys? Because honestly, it was kind of good. But you should never eat anything like that. If you ever get handed a homemade, THC anything, even if it's store-bought, take a nibble. Take a little, just bite with your teeth lightly. Well, I bit into this brownie because I'm like, I want to get messed up. The thing about being young is you just want to feel it so quickly. You want to feel the alcohol right away. You want to feel the weed right away. So you do everything to the max, not realizing that this is going to slap you like a semi-truck. Like Regina George getting hit by a bus is how hard all this alcohol is going to hit you in your young body, because although you want to feel it super fast, it's not going to feel faster just because you drink it faster. Drink more of it. The more you drink, it's not going to speed it up. It's just going to hit you later, and it's going to hit all at once, and you're going to be done. So we are playing some beer pong. We're having fun. I remember we're like dancing, messing around. We have music playing. And then everybody's like, okay, guys, let's get into our bikinis. And so when we were playing beer pong, though, I kind of like felt a vibe from one of the guys. And I was like, ooh, okay, he's kind of cute. He was like Bill, and I was like, yes, love it. I don't know. He played some type of sport, not that I remember now, but he was some type of sporty type. He was tall. He was handsome, and I was like, ooh, kind of getting vibes, right? I was kind of like, ooh, I think he kind of likes me. So we all get into our swimsuits and we head out. This girl had a pool and a hot tub. I got dressed and I happened to be one of the first girls ready, so I went out and got into the hot tub. And what do you know? And when I come outside, it just so happens that the first guy in the hot tub was the one who was kind of giving me vibes. He was kind of being flirty. Anyways, I'm like, oh my gosh, play it cool. I get into the hot tub, I'm like in my little bikini. I probably thought I looked hot as shit. And I'm just like, girl, with what fucking body? I'm built like a pencil. So I get into the hot tub. It's going great. We're talking. I could really feel the vibes. And the other people get into the hot tub with us, but we could just feel the tension between us. Nothing is more hot than when you low-key have unspoken desire between you and somebody you just met. You guys have this little secret you're hiding from everybody. We kept lightly touching or bumping into each other in the hot tub. He would put his hand near my thigh underwater because you couldn't see it under the bubbles. It's going so great, right? And then everybody else is like, oh, we're going to hop into the pool. But it was like freezing cold. I was like, no, thank you. I'm just going to stay in the hot tub. And he too was like, yeah, no, you guys do that. So while they jump in the hot tub, we're like chatting more. He starts, having more, we're getting closer and closer. And then next thing you know, everybody's like, oh, okay, we're going to jump inside. It's freezing. Let's go hop in the shower. So they all run inside. And then it's just me and him outside. One thing leads to another. Honestly, this is where it kind of gets a little bit like I don't have the most memory because it's happened so long ago. But next thing I know, we start smooching, we're making out, we're hot, we're heavy, it's in a hot tub. It was going really good. Something about smooching in a hot tub just makes it really fun. Like, I highly recommend you have some fun in a hot tub because it makes it more passionate. You're hot, there's bubbles, there's steam. Also, everybody looks really good in a hot tub. Like, at nighttime, the nice warm glow of hot tub lighting makes your complexion look beautiful. So we were both glowing. We're making out in the hot tub, right? And then one of my friends is like, oh, we brought you towels. She comes outside and she's like, oh shit, hi. Everything's kind of going good. And then she's like, okay, I'll just leave these here and run back in. And I was like, okay, we should get going. Like, they're all inside now. So I get up. I'm feeling drunk though now. Like, the second I get out of the hot tub, I had probably been in the hot tub for almost an hour, which is insane. I don't know what about it being in a hot tub just makes me 10 times drunker. Anytime I'm drinking, getting in a hot tub just sends me mile high. So I get out of the hot tub, world is kind of spinning. And at this point, I had never really, was this like one of my first, I'd been drunk before, but not like this. Like this was a different level of drunk. I was crossed because I ate the edible and then I drank. So this is my first time being this heavily crossed, like drink and weed. And I go inside, right? And they're playing music. And some of the girls were spinning on this little office chair that was in the garage. So me and him go in and they're spinning on the office chair. And they're like, OMG, Hallie, come, come. We're like spinning. And then we take turns and we're all just like spinning each other in the office chair. I noticed though, while this is happening, because while I'm taking a break from spinning, I realized one of the other girls is off in the corner. And she kind of looks like she's sitting on this couch in like the garage. And she's looking a little bit like annoyed and kind of like hunched, and she's kind of whispering with one of the other girls. And they keep looking over at us. But I was just like, I don't know. We're just spinning in the chair. I was kind of drunk. So my reasoning was not its best. But I'm like, I don't know. Well, they're just looking at us because we're spinning. Next thing you know, they're like, okay, Hallie, your turn again. So I hop into the chair. They spin me around, right? Spin, spin, spin. And I'm just like, holy shit, I'm going to throw up. I am going to throw up. I just remember the world was buzzing and blurring. Literally just thinking about it right now makes me drunk. It's that vivid of how intense I was gone. So they walk away because they're like, okay, we're done spinning now. And those two girls kind of walk away. They go back to the pool table. They're going to drink some alcohol. The girl whispering on the couch had gotten up and went somewhere. And I was like, shit, I gotta puke. I gotta puke. And I was like, it's okay. You know what, Hallie? Bingo, bright idea. You are so smart, drunk Hallie. Let's just go to the couch and lean over and we're just gonna puke behind the couch. Nobody's gonna notice because they're all busy and like you're gonna be so quick with it. I was like, I'm gonna be so fast. I'm just gonna quickly puke behind this couch. That makes perfect sense. And we're in a garage. I go to the couch, I lean over it, and I just yakking everywhere. It was not quiet. It was not low key. Everybody in the room is like, what the fuck? And then I turn around, sit down on the couch, and I'm like, what happened? They're like, you just threw up behind my couch. Who is this? What's happening? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I just remember my friend who brought me to the kickback dragging me outside. She was like, Hallie, come over here. And she drags me outside, brings me outside the garage. We're in the backyard by the pool. And she's like, you're on timeout. You are on a timeout. You just puked behind the couch. We got to clean that up. Her mom's going to be so mad. Sit out here and think about this. And I just like sat out there and I was like, shit. I was like, everybody's going to be mad at me. That was young Hallie's first experience of anxiety, where you just wake up the day after being super drunk and you're like, what did I do? What happened? Who did I piss off? Is anybody going to be friends with me after this? Fuck, Hallie, you fucked it up. Your first kickback, and you're the one that yacked. You're the one that puked behind her couch. Nobody's ever going to want to invite you to a party again, Hallie, because you're the one that yacked everywhere. And I was like, damn. I was just more distraught about that. During my timeout, I was just like, damn, there goes my chances. I was like, shit, is this girl going to be cool with me? I have a feeling she's not going to want to invite me over again, which kind of sucked because this girl had the cool parents who always let her friends come over and party and drink. So I was like, fuck, I just blew it. I just blew my first kickback. I'm never getting invited again. My friends come back. I try to go back inside because I'm like, wait, I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to fix this. Whenever you're drunk, don't try to fix things with whoever you just pissed off, because I promise you, it's not going to go how you want. And you're probably just going to make matters worse. So I go inside. She's at the couch cleaning up my puke. Everybody's cleaning up my yak. The guy that I was just making out with, he's cleaning up my yak behind the couch. And they're all just like, hi. The music's off. The vibes are done. And he's just like, yeah, we're just cleaning this up. And I was like, I don't even remember this bitch's name. That's literally how bad I didn't know her. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me clean it. I'm gone. I'm gone. Girl is just like, nope, nope, nope. It's fine. It's fine. She's like, now my mom's getting mad. My mom's suspicious. I grab all this cleaning stuff. And now she's super pissed off at me. And then my friend, she had walked out of the room for a minute. She came back into the garage and was like, Hallie, what are you doing? She threw me back outside like a dog. I was like a dog sitting outside, crying at the door. I'm sorry for peeing on the couch. No, they put me on timeout again. And I was like, shit, okay, I'm definitely not getting invited back. That was all I cared about. Eventually, my friend comes back to get me. And she's like, hey, Hallie, so we're just going to go to bed, like everybody's kind of, the vibe's kind of done. blah, blah, blah is actually apparently pissed at you because apparently she likes that guy that you were making out with. The girl who was on the couch, hunched over, whispering and looking at us, spitting in the chair, she was looking at me, and apparently she was mad at me because I had made out with the guy that she liked. But first of all, I knew nobody in this friend group besides my main friend. So I would have not done that if somebody told me, hey, blah, blah, blah likes that guy and is trying to get at him. My friend was like, yeah, she's upset because you made out with him and she has a thing for him and was trying to make out with him tonight. And I was like, shit, I'm sorry. Nobody told me. And obviously we all have to stay the night because we're all fucked up. So nobody can go home. But she's like, we're going to sleep in her bedroom and then they're going to sleep in the living room. They don't really want to talk or anything. And I was just like, fuck, I'm sorry. And my friend's like, it's okay. We just got to clean this up. So we all went to bed and everybody goes to sleep. The energy was not good. We wake up the next morning and I just remember being like, what the fuck did I do? That was my first time ever feeling that. I was so embarrassed. I was like, what the fuck did I do? Who is this guy that I made out with? And then I was like, fuck, that girl's mad at me because I made out with that guy she liked. And the other girl is mad at me because I puked behind her couch and ruined the kickback. I'm like, fuck it. I get, picked up by my parents. I go home. I'm just tired as fuck. I go to sleep. That was on a Saturday, right? So now it's Sunday. Nothing really happened. I texted my friend. I was like, hey, sorry, if you can just tell blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry again about puking. And she was like, oh, no, it's cool. Whatever, it happens. It was fine. And let's just say I was never, ever invited back to that girl's house again. I was never asked to hang out again. That friend group definitely did not like me after that, which kind of sucks because to this day, I am still friends with the person who invited me to that house, for the party. I'm still friends with her. I haven't seen her in a really long time. Love her, but haven't seen her in forever. But she's still friends with those people. And I'm like, do they remember? Do they remember what I did? Because I'm sorry about that still. But no, it gets worse because you're like, oh, Hallie, okay, story's done. No, it's fucking not. Then it's Sunday, right? Sunday goes by, Monday comes along, and I'm at school. It was like 7 a.m. I remember for first period, for our first class of the day, I'm going to the bathroom real quick before class starts. And then I get a DM on Instagram from some girl from the other high school. And it's like, hey, this is blah, blah. This is like my friend. And apparently you made out with her boyfriend, possibly at a party this last Saturday. And she just wants to know why you would do that, knowing that he had a girlfriend, why you would make out with him. And did he make the move on you or did you make the move on him? What happened? And did you guys do anything else besides just making out? And I was just like, what the fuck? So not only did I yak on a girl's couch, piss off some other girl for making out with the guy because she wanted to, but then I find out that the motherfucker, the little fuck boy, had a girlfriend. I was just like, what the fuck? Why did nobody tell me that? Because as I said, I didn't go to their high school. I didn't know any of them. I didn't know any of their little high school politics happening over there. And so they were just like, yeah, apparently this was the girl's friend. And she was just like, yeah, she doesn't even want to talk to you, but she just wants to know what happened because she needs to talk to him about it. And I was just like, wait, hold the phone. First of all, why isn't she messaging me? And then I literally thought that. And in the next 30 minutes, the girl texted me, the actual girlfriend texted me on Instagram. She also DM'd me and she was just like, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah's girlfriend. I heard you guys might have done something at this party. I know everybody's pissed off at me because I ruined the kickback because I yacked behind the couch. And I know that other girl who went to that high school was mad at me because she didn't get to make out with the guy. Hold up. All those girls knew that he had a girlfriend and that girl was plotting. The girl who was pissed at me at the kickback, she knew that he had a girlfriend and still was trying to make a move on him. And I was like, wow, I don't feel so bad anymore about her being pissed at me because she didn't get to make out with him because she knew he had a girlfriend. I did not. That's not my fault. And to say the least, I never talked to that guy again because I was just like, that guy is an F-boy. He's a man whore. Don't want anything to do with him. I was just one little, chill little makeout session. That's all we did. Wasn't really that big a deal to me. I wasn't in love or anything. But the other girl was trifling because the girl who was also at the kickback was trying to get to hook up with him and she wanted to do more than just kiss. And she knew that he had a girlfriend. Should I text this girl and be like, Yes, we did make out. I had no clue that he had a girlfriend, but you might want to look at that other girl who was at the party because she knew he had a girlfriend and she was trying to make a move. But I actually did not say anything because I was just like, I saw all these text messages, thought all of these things, and I was like, what do I do? This is my first experience in this situation. So I end up telling my close friends at this high school, my close friends then, and I'm like, hey guys, like this happened this weekend. And now this girl texted me. Apparently he had a girlfriend, but I'm like, what the fuck? Should I tell them that other girl was trying to do something behind their back because apparently they were friends? And I was like, that's not very friendly of her. And also, should I just tell her that we made out? Because that's all that happened. But my friends were like, no, Hallie, don't message her. Don't say anything. That's for him to tell. Like, he's the one who's guilty. You did not know. You had no clue. That girl, she's in the wrong. But once again, that's not your place to call her out. Like, that's just their own problem. They go to a different high school. Screw it. Never talk to them again. Bye bye. So I never messaged the girl. I never talked to the guy again and never saw any of those people again. Not the girl from the kickback, not the girl who was mad at me because I made out. So that was really funny. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of lessons to learn from this. First off, is to not overdo it on the alcohol. Just because you drink more, it doesn't mean it's going to hit you quicker. It's just going to hit you later a lot harder and probably get you way more messed up than you wanted to be. Make sure before you hook up, make out with somebody, maybe do a background check. If you just met somebody who's friends with your friends and you're like, oh, I think that guy is cute, tell your friends and be like, hey, I like that person. Do you know anything about him? Does he have a girlfriend, a guy, anything, any history? To this day, I'm still like, wait, why did nobody tell me that guy had a girlfriend? That should have been like the first thing. Like when they saw us in the hot tub, that should have been immediately mentioned because they definitely broke some girl code. But it also leads us into another thing of how to spot a man whore, a little fuckboy, one might say, because I, little Hallie, had my first acquaintance with a man whore, an F-boy, whatever you want to call it, bop. So here's how to avoid an F-boy. First things first is if a guy is only asking you to hang out at nighttime or go to dinner or get drinks after it's late when the sun is down, that's a little bit of a red flag. If you ask a guy, you want to go on a date, let's get coffee, go on a morning picnic, an afternoon picnic, brunch, breakfast, and he's like, oh no, I'm busy today. What about dinner tonight? And you're like, sorry, what about tomorrow? And he's like, can't in the morning. What about drinks at night? If every time you try to make plans with a guy when you want to go out on a date or whether you just want to meet up for the first time and he never wants to meet during the day, that is a red flag. He's probably just trying to get some, hoping that after drinks or a nighttime event, he can get you home into his bed, into your bed, or just to do something. Because after dark is when the freak likes to come out. And even if you're like, oh, we're going to go on a date and it's just going to be drinks and dinner, come on, babe. And a romantic moonlit dinner with drinks, with alcohol, with anything, an atmosphere at night just makes it so much more intimate and spicy. You might be tempted to take this man to bed, and then you're going to hook up with the F-boy and get attached, and then your feelings going to get hurt. So instead, enter into it slowly and make sure you first do your first few dates during the daytime. That is one of the best ways to avoid the F-boy. Next thing, listen to what he says. If he's an F-boy, he's mainly going to compliment your body and very superficial things like, oh, your eyes are blue. Those are pretty. Or your eyes are brown. That's cute. Like whatever it is, he's going to give you mainly compliments about your body. Oh, you have the nicest body. You're so fit. You're so this. You're so that. Also, watch out for the hair color. Certain men collect certain girls like Pokemon cards. If he's like, oh, wow, I love your blonde hair. I love your black hair, that jet black hair. It just turns me on. That is a little bit of a red flag because usually guys who have a type, like I know one guy who specifically only dates blondes. Like all of his exes, blonde, 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 copy and paste one after another. He only has one certain type and he's like, yeah, I mainly only date this type of girl. And like, if they're not, no, thank you. And that is not somebody that you want. Usually an F-boy is going to have a hyperfixation on one hair color and one type of girl. You want to avoid that. You do not want to be another one of his trinkets in his collection of Barbie dolls that all look like you. That way, I know it's not just superficial because the F-boy is keeping it superficial because most likely the F-boy is only going to care about those superficial things. Whereas the guy who's actually into you is going to compliment things besides your body or your hair. He will actually have other compliments to give you based off of your characteristics, your personalities, your likes, your dislikes. He will find that attractive and be able to compliment those things. Look out for a guy who only compliments your body. The next sign of an F-boy is the guy who always has a relationship or something happening in the background, but always seems to be very flirty with you. Like he might have a girlfriend or a situationship and he tells you about her. You know about her. He gives you all the details about the relationship and what's going wrong or what's going la 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 and why it's not perfect and why you're such a good listener. Watch out for guys who have you on the side while they're dating somebody, because that is such a red flag, because most likely he's trying to get some on the side. I know multiple girls who have literally been talking to a guy who's in a relationship, ends up dumping the girl he's in the relationship for, hooking up with them, and then screwing them over because he was just avoidant attachment style. He was bored in his relationship, so he jumps to the next thing, then he hooks up, then he's like avoidant attachment, which means they need to run away, they need to go fling to fling to fling because they can't stay in one place, and then he goes to the next girl. Just because a guy is in a relationship doesn't mean he's not an F-boy. It doesn't mean he can actually be your friend. If anything, a guy who wants to make female friendships while he's in a relationship is kind of a red flag. Yes, there can be work friendships, certain meetings, workplaces, business, or side activities like the gym where he might have actual female friendships. But for the most part, no guy is looking for a female friend. If he wants to be friends, he probably wants more than just friendship. But that is definitely an F-boy sign. Watch out for that. Another sign that a man is an F-boy, if he uses too much girly lingo. If he's dropping like girly pop slang, that man is for the streets. He should not be able to drop girly words. If he says like, that's T-full, because like T and then full. If he's saying like, oh my G, that is so T-full girl, like OMG gaff, get the frick out of here. That man is for the streets. If he knows any girl language, girl lingo, he needs to get out. Say you're in a situationship with a guy. You guys have already done it. You guys have already hooked up, made out, whatever it is. You guys have a little bit of intimate history and maybe want to date this person or have a future with them. First thing is if he's not putting down a title. If you ask him, hey, I really like, we were seeing each other, we've been hooking up. If you want to date, do you want to be boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. And he's like, oh no, I don't want to ruin this. What we have is perfect. We're such good friends. We have such a good relationship. Every time a girl does this, it just ruins things. It just gets rough. Then we start fighting. If he starts dropping excuses, why not put a label on things? If a guy wants to, he will. I've had men quitting jobs, flying across countries to be with me, to make things work. If men want a label, he will put a label on it. If he's throwing down excuses, like if he's got a deck of cards of excuses on why he can't be with you, and every time you flip a card, there's another reason why he can't be your boyfriend, red flag. Because if he wants to be your boyfriend, he's gonna be your boyfriend. One thing I do know is guys are decisive. Guys make decisions for what they want. If he put you in the gray area, if he has you in that little situationship, you're not getting out of it. If anything, you're just gonna get fucked into it and it's not gonna be fun. Next thing is if he tells you, oh, I'm just not boyfriend material. I'm just not like that type of guy. You don't wanna be with me. I'm not like, one of those guys who's like a good guy to show up for you and, meet the parents. Believe him. If a man is telling you he's not a good person and he's not good boyfriend material, husband material, or just a good friend, believe him. Don't put words into his mouth and be like, no, baby, you are the sweetest. You are so considerate. You are so caring. First of all, bitch is fishing for compliments, okay? Come on, you're just watering his little flower. But he is not going to give you anything from that. If he's saying like, oh, I'm just a piece of shit. You don't want somebody like me. Believe him. Don't try to fill his ego and be like, no, you're not. You're a good guy. He's telling you this for a reason. It's kind of like reverse psychology. It's like when you tell somebody not to do something so they want to do it. He's literally just using manipulation on you. He's telling you like, no, babe, I can't do this. So you're like, you know what? I get it. You have this history. This is why you can't do it. You have these reasons for why we can't be in a relationship. So you give him excuses. Don't put words into his mouth. If you wouldn't accept this behavior from your friends, do not accept this behavior from a man that you want to date. The people in your life should be able to prove themselves without you having to make excuses. Why the hell are you taking this behavior from a guy? If he's saying all these things and then hurting you, you would never take that from your friends. You would drop those girls. You'd be like, I'm not going to be friends with you anymore. You're not a girl's girl. But for a guy, you're making all these excuses. You're giving all these passes. That is not cute. Drop him. He is an F-boy. He is a waste of your time, your energy, and your beauty. All right, guys, it's that time of the episode, Q&A time. First question, hey girly, how can I heal my itchy coochie? Me and my man went to Pound Town and we went a little rougher. Okay, if you got a little scratch down there after you and your man went to Pound Town and maybe you guys were like, oh, bow, bow, you guys were going at it, you guys were shaking the bed, you probably got what is called thrush. Thrush is pretty much like from the friction of going to Bam Bam, you created bacteria that is kind of like when you get a little yeast infection, but this is kind of like a little minor. From the friction, it builds up the bacteria. And then you get that itchy feeling afterwards down there. Maybe a little bit sore, especially if you were going to rougher Pound Town. It might be a little sore on the inside of your cat, like on your walls, and maybe even on the outside. If you are doing the Bam Chicka Bam Bam a little rougher, I highly recommend you always use a little bit of a slube to make it extra slippery, because that friction, even if it's so minor, even if it was just dry for like 3 seconds, even sometimes when you're like, yeah, but like it was wet, it can still get dry on the outside opening part where it's getting rubbed against constantly, which makes that thrush happen. So make sure to always use a little bit of slube. But if you finish doing the deed and it's itchy down there, try either putting a cold compress, hold it on the outside of your kitty cat. I know that's a little bit weird, but just lay on the bed in butterfly pose with the ice on your cat. Do not ever put ice directly on that. Just use like a paper towel, wrap the bag of ice, and then put it on your kitty. If it's sore, take some Tylenol. I one time had a man take me to Finger Town so hard down there on my kitty cat. And in the moment, it felt good because it was just like, bop, bop, bop. He was just going crazy with his fingers that it literally was sore afterwards. He was doing that trigger finger down there, and I had to pop a Tylenol because it was sore. It helps. Take a little Tylenol if you did just do rough, bam, bam. And last thing is a hot tub. I love it. Put a little bit of baking soda in the tub, just a little spritz in the tub. And this is really good to help with the thrush. So it's going to help get rid of that itchiness going on down there. And as well, it's going to be very soothing and calming for your kitty cat that you literally just took your cat to Pound Town. You pounded to the town, and now your kitty cat's got thrush. Now she's got a little scratchy itch. It happens. It's nothing to be too worried about. If it continues, though, if you're noticing any sores or unusual discharge, things like that, maybe go to your gynecologist, look into it, because if you are doing things unprotected, maybe it could have been something. But for the most part, guys, it's probably just a little bit of thrush. Next question. Hey, girly, I was talking to one of my guy friends a while ago, and he said the best sprain he ever experienced is when a girl used an ice cube. I want to try this with my man, but I have no idea how to go about it. If you want to rock your man's world, use an ice cube when you're going down on their pink water bottle on the cucumber. What I usually do is I'll get a glass of ice and put it next to the bedside table. So that way, while you guys are warming up, doing a little smooching and starting it up, then when you go down there, grab the cup of ice and just put one of the ice cubes in your mouth. Then when you're on there, lightly with it in your mouth, run it down their whole entire pink water bottle to the base, kind of hold it, go back up, and lightly doing that up and down. Now, here's the thing. If you have an ice cube in your mouth, you can't really put your mouth over the pink water bottle. So low key, this sounds weird. Put the ice cube in your hand. Put the ice cube in your hand, go a few times back up and down, because your mouth is now going to be super cold. Yes, the ice cube will be melting slightly off to the side on your hand, but just hold it there next to your bed or whatever. It'll drip a little bit, but it's not like too much water. Then grab the ice cube, put it back in your mouth, and continue teasing at the base. If you really want to be crazy, do this very gently and not too long, but go down to the tennis balls. Like, take the ice cube while it's in your mouth, all the way down to the tennis balls lightly. This is going to tingle because they're going to be grazing around there. And then go back up to the top and put the ice cube back in your hand. By that point, it'll probably start to melt almost all the way down. Then just give regular brain on the pink water bottle up and down. Your entire mouth is going to be nice and cold and frosty. So when you're, going completely over their thing, it's gonna give a nice chilly hot feeling. There's a cup of ice there. So depending how much you want to do this back and forth, just grab the cup again, put another ice in your mouth and do that like back and forth, kind of in your hand, in the mouth. But that's usually the best method that I would recommend for ice cube play. This next question I picked today because we talked about F-boys, and this is clearly an F-boy. Let's get into it. Hey girl, I don't know if you can answer this, but I went to go hang out with a guy and we did the deed, but then he tells me he doesn't want a relationship. So I was like, okay, cool. So I go to a different guy, we hang out, and then I kind of want to do something with him. Is this okay? Totally. If you're with a guy, you hook up, whatever you do, it doesn't have to be fully doing a home run, but you guys do anything. And he's like, yeah, I don't want a relationship. And then you meet another guy and he's like, yeah, let's do the deed. You can do the deed because you're not in a relationship. That guy clearly told you, I don't want to be in a relationship. Listen to men when what they tell you is what they tell you. Don't put words in his mouth, but like he's really caring and sweet and he's just going through a rough patch. Eventually he'll want to date. He tells you he doesn't want a relationship. Take it as is. Okay, bye. You heard it from him. If you want a relationship, go to another guy. Meet a guy who wants to date, who wants a relationship. But since he told you he doesn't want to be anything, you fully have the right to hook up or make out with somebody else because he clearly told you that that's what he's going to do. So why make yourself exclusive for somebody that doesn't even want to be exclusive with you? Go get another man because that one is playing games. Hey, girly, I love your podcast so much. I have a question. Appreciate it. I love hearing that from you guys. My situationship wants me to go down and give him some action on his backside. Yeah, I'm kind of okay with doing the rim job, but I don't know what to do. And also, the thought of a man being on all fours like doggy gives me the ick. Any advice for this position, how I can go down to his backside? I do not recommend doggy because I agree with you. That is an ick. I recommend you just do classic, have him lie on his back and then bring his knees to his chest and hold his legs open and kind of like leaning farther back. That way, while you're normally giving brain, you can go lower, get underneath the tennis balls, and then while he's rolled backwards, you can get in there but still be working. To make it easier, if you don't want to do it flat on the bed, have him sit on the edge of the bed. That way you can kneel on the ground and he can be holding knees to chest while you're still giving some brain on his pink water bottle. You can easily get underneath there to eat his backside. And you can do that on the edge of a couch, chair, a bed. That way he has more mobility and you can get to the crack. Honestly though, just make sure he's fresh, showered, and shaved because last thing you want to be doing is getting down in a bush underneath there. But if you're down, go for it. Some people love it, some girls don't. To each their own. That wraps up this episode of Girl Core. What an amazing episode. If you enjoyed, please leave a good review. I'll catch you next Sunday for another episode.